Silence. It's 2:17 a.m. The glow of the phone is the only light in the room. Another scroll through another feed of curated lives. Another hollow victory in a game that was never explained. The gym progress photo, posted not for health, but for a silent plea, see me. Validate this. The promotion at work, celebrated alone, the congratulations ringing in a digital void. A bank account number that climbs, yet feels like monopoly money, a score in a simulation that provides comfort, but no meaning. And her. The one who left, with words like spark and connection that felt like a foreign language. Or the one who stays, but whose eyes hold a quiet, unspoken calculus, a ledger you are forever in the red on. You perform the scripts you were given, the attentive listener, the supportive partner, the evolved man. You choke down your frustrations, you soften your edges, you make yourself safe, palatable, agreeable. And you watch, helpless, as respect seeps out of the relationship like air from a punctured tire. You are told the problem is you are not vulnerable enough. So you bleed your insecurities onto the floor and watch as the dynamic shifts, subtly, irreversibly. You are told you are too rigid. So you bend, and find you are now a convenience, not a cornerstone. You feel a quiet, screaming tension. A biological intuition, a deep, gut-level knowing that the rules you are following are wrong. That the map does not match the territory. That the things you are rewarded for in the boardroom make you invisible in the bedroom. That the traits you must suppress to be a good citizen are the very traits that, once upon a time, made a man worthy of love and loyalty. This is not a series of personal failures. This is not a you problem. This is a structural collapse. A catastrophic mismatch between our evolved psychology and the synthetic world we have built. You are not failing at love. You are navigating a system designed, with almost poetic cruelty, to ensure you fail. To keep you lonely, hungry, and consuming. To turn your primordial drive for meaning into a hamster wheel of performance for an audience of ghosts. We are going to dissect that system. We will peel back the skin of modern romance and look at the pulsing, ancient machinery underneath. We will use the lenses of evolutionary biology, the depth psychology of the shadow, and the cold, hard realities of intergender dynamics. This is not about blame. This is about truth. A truth that is written not in self-help books, but in our DNA, in our myths, and in the silent, agonizing confusion of millions of men staring at a ceiling at 2:17 a.m. Your pain is a signal. It is telling you that you are alive in a world that is, in many ways, dead. Listen to it. To understand the present, you must first excavate the past. Not the past of 100 years, but the past of 100,000. The past that forged the substrate of your mind. We must begin in a state of nature, stripped of all sentimentality, all romantic fiction. We begin with the raw calculus of survival and replication. The fundamental asymmetry is this: the biological investment of the sexes is catastrophically unequal. For the ancestral woman, sex was not an act. It was a potential 9-month sentence of physical vulnerability, followed by years of caloric and energetic drain through lactation and child-rearing. One error in mate choice, selecting a man who was weak, who abandoned her, who could not defend or provide, meant not just heartbreak. It meant death for her and her child. Her mate selection mechanism, therefore, evolved to be the most stringent, complex, and consequential filter in the human experience. This is hypergamy. It is not a social construct. It is a biological imperative, as real and relentless as the hunger for food. It is the drive to secure the best possible genetic and material resources for her offspring. Hypergamy operates on 2 tiers, often conflated but distinct. First, genetic hypergamy. This is the search for good genes. What signals good genes? Signs of developmental stability, symmetry, health. But more profoundly, dominance. Not bullying, but the capacity for effective, realized power. Confidence that is backed by competence. The ability to navigate hierarchies successfully. A vitality, a presence that suggests a robust immune system and a mind capable of solving complex problems. This is why physical stature, a strong jaw, a confident gaze, these are not cultural accidents. They are biological billboards. Second, provision hypergamy. This is the search for the ability and willingness to invest resources over the long term. It is the assessment of a man's social status, his skill, his alliances, his ability to bring home the metaphorical and literal meat. It is the evaluation of his character. Is he reliable? Is he disciplined? Does he have a future that promises stability? Her psychology is thus inherently vetting, testing, and evaluating. It is asking, constantly, subconsciously, is this the best I can do? Can he protect me? Can he provide for our children? Will he stay? This is not cynicism. This is the deepest form of responsibility wired into her being. Now, the ancestral man. His biological investment is, initially, trivial. A few calories. His imperative is therefore not to be selectively cautious, but to be strategically prolific. His drive is to seek opportunity for mating. But, and this is the critical but, successful mating is not the end of the story for him. Because if he wishes his genes to survive past infancy, his children must live. And to live, they need the mother to survive and thrive. Thus, the successful man is not the one who mates with the most women. He is the one whose children live to reproduce. This creates a profound evolutionary pressure on men to become the kind of entity that a hypergamous female would select for long-term partnership and investment. His drive is thus directed outward, toward the conquest of the external world. He must develop competence. He must integrate his capacity for aggression, his shadow, into a disciplined, useful form. He must learn to read social hierarchies, to build alliances, to take calculated risks, to endure pain and delay gratification. He must build something of value, a skill, a reputation, a store of resources, that he can offer. This is the origin of the male worth ethic. A man's sense of worth is not intrinsic. It is extrinsic. It is earned, built, proven in the arena of life. He does not feel his way into worthiness, he acts his way into it. His psychology is wired for a hierarchy of competence, and his place within it determines his mating access. Love, for the ancestral man, was the byproduct of being effective in the world. Respect preceded affection. Thus, the ancient dance is established. It is a tense, dynamic, and ultimately complementary system. The female role, the selective, investing arbiter of value. The guardian of the future. The male role, the striving, producing generator of value. The conqueror of chaos. This is the blueprint. This is the foundational operating system upon which all the fragile software of civilization has been installed. Ignore it, and you will forever be bewildered by the crashes. Now, bring that ancient pair into the 21st century. Observe the dislocation. First, the physical hierarchy has been anesthetized. For millennia, a man's competence was tangible, visible, and immediate. Could he hunt? Could he fight? Could he build? Could he lead men through danger? These were tests with immediate, unforgiving feedback. Status was earned in the blood and dirt of reality, and it was known by everyone in the tribe. A man's place was clear. His path to improvement was clear. Hone your body, hone your skill, hone your courage. Today, that hierarchy is largely gone. The average man's physical strength is irrelevant. His capacity for violence is pathologized and outsourced to the state. His survival skills are quaint hobbies. The tangible, physical proof of competence has vanished. In its place is the abstract hierarchy. The abstract hierarchy is the corporation, the university, the online marketplace. It rewards a different set of skills: compliance, verbal dexterity, political savvy, the manipulation of symbols on a screen. It is a hierarchy that is often opaque, based on nebulous metrics, like likability or team spirit, and subject to capricious, non-Darwinian rules. A man can climb it by being inoffensive and diligent, not by being courageous and decisive. This creates a profound psychic disconnect. He may be successful in the abstract hierarchy, a mid-level manager, a tenured professor, but his biology does not register this as authentic status. It feels hollow. And, crucially, female hypergamy, operating on that ancient firmware, often senses the hollowness. But the true perversion is the second phenomenon, the globalization of mating markets. Once, a woman's hypergamous comparison set was her tribe, her village, perhaps a few hundred men. The local alpha was identifiable. The average man could assess his competition and find a realistic niche. Enter the smartphone. Enter social media. Enter dating apps. Now, her comparison set is global. It is the combined, curated highlight reels of the top 5% of men on Earth. The billionaire, the movie star, the rock star, the elite athlete, the charismatic influencer, these men now exist in her pocket, alongside you. They are her daily reference points for male value. This creates what we might call hypergamous inflation. The standards for what constitutes the best I can do have been artificially and catastrophically inflated by a digital mirage. You are no longer competing with the men in your city. You are competing with a fantasy. You are a local shop competing with Amazon. You are a craftsman competing with a CGI hologram. The average man is rendered biologically invisible. He swipes right into a void. His profile is a tax return and a forced smile next to a fish, evaluated and dismissed in 0.7 seconds by a psyche scanning for signals of dominance and genetic fitness that his carefully sanitized, corporately appropriate life cannot convey. This is the first great trap, the spectacle. You are told to enter an arena where the rules are unspoken, the judges are comparing you to ghosts, and the very traits that would allow you to succeed are the ones you have been taught to suppress. This leads us to the core of the modern male predicament, the war on the masculine psyche itself. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the part of the personality that the conscious ego rejects. For the modern man, his shadow contains his aggression, his competitiveness, his raw sexual drive, his will to power, his capacity for ruthlessness, his territorial instinct, his righteous anger. These are the primordial forces that, when integrated and mastered, become the basis of true strength, purpose, and charisma. The modern project, however, is not integration. It is amputation. From boyhood, the masculine spirit is pathologized. The energetic boy is diagnosed with a disorder and medicated into docility. His competitive instincts are labeled toxic. His natural hierarchy forming is called bullying. His aggression is punished, not channeled. He is taught that to be good is to be safe. To be safe is to be harmless. To be harmless is to be virtuous. He enters adulthood having been taught that the entire spectrum of his darker, more potent energies is evil. So he represses them. He tries to become the man the culture says it wants, agreeable, non-confrontational, endlessly empathetic, in touch with his feminine side. And he encounters two devastating results. First, he becomes boring. He becomes predictable. He lacks edge, tension, the faint hint of danger that is inseparable from biological attraction. Sexual attraction is not sparked by safety. It is sparked by the mastery of danger. A man who has no capacity for violence has no capacity for peace, only for passivity. A man who has never confronted his own darkness has no depth, only a pleasant surface. Women, operating on a hypergamous instinct millennia old, sense this absence. They may call him a great friend, a nice guy. They will not desire him. They cannot. Their biology is repelled by the void where his backbone should be. Second, and more insidiously, the repressed shadow does not disappear. It festers. It leaks out in passive-aggressive resentment, in covert contracts, I was nice to you, so you owe me sex, in bursts of impotent rage at video games or online forums, in a deep, simmering bitterness toward women who, he feels, have rejected him for being exactly what he was told to be. This is the nice guy who eventually explodes. He is not nice. He is repressed, and his unintegrated shadow is a septic tank of entitlement and fury. The system then points at his occasional, distorted outbursts and says, see? This is why we must suppress masculinity further. It is a perfect, self-justifying loop. The medicine creates the disease, and then is prescribed in stronger doses. Historically, the male drive to build, to conquer, to provide, this immense psychic voltage, was directed toward a tangible end: family, tribe, legacy, God, kingdom. His labor had a transcendent purpose. The modern corporation has performed a brilliant, soulless alchemy. It has hijacked that drive and stripped it of its transcendent object. The young man is told, go to school. Get a good job. Build a career. That is how you become a man ready for commitment. So he does. He becomes a diligent cock. He trades his vital, youthful energy, his most precious resource, for a digital number in a bank account. He sits in a glass box, moving abstract symbols to generate profit for shareholders he will never meet. This is the second great trap, the simulation of provision. He believes he is building a future. But what he is building is a consumer profile. His success qualifies him for a larger mortgage, a nicer car, better vacations, all of which tie him more deeply to the machine that consumes his time. He is on a hedonic treadmill, mistaking comfort for purpose, and salary for value. His work does not require courage. It requires compliance. It does not require the integration of his shadow, it requires its total suppression. He is paid not to be formidable, but to be functional. He becomes a high-functioning slave. His provision is no longer the hunter bringing meat to his family, it is a direct deposit funding a lifestyle that keeps him docile, indebted, and too tired to question the meaning of it all. When he then presents this to a woman, his resume, his mortgage, his curated lifestyle, he is offering the results of a provider instinct, but not the character of a provider. He is offering the trophy, but he is not the hunter. She senses the difference. She may settle for the simulation, but she will not be ignited by it. Her hypergamy, seeking a man who can navigate chaos, is presented with a man who is expertly managed by it. Worse, this system keeps him isolated. The tribal context is gone. He has network connections, not brothers. He has drinking buddies, not a band of men united by a shared, sacred purpose. He is an atomized economic unit, and his forays into love are attempts to build a whole world with another atomized unit, based on fragile emotionalism and shared consumer tastes. It is a foundation of sand, confronted with this impossible labyrinth, where his instincts are criminalized, his labor is co-opted, and his mating market is a global lottery. The male psyche fractures. It retreats into pathology. Two primary archetypes emerge, two sides of the same ruined coin. Archetype 1, the Peter Pan. The passive bystander. This man looks at the sheer scale of the demand, become a globally competitive alpha while being emotionally available and never triggering anyone, and simply gives up. He refuses the call to mature. He retreats into a digital extended adolescence. His world is the video game, where he can be a hero with clear objectives and instant feedback. It is pornography, where he can access the simulation of sexual validation without risk, without rejection, without the terrifying demand to be judged and found worthy. It is the endless scroll, the podcast echo chamber, the fanboy identity. He may have a job, but it is merely a fuel pump for his hobbies. He avoids romantic entanglement because it is too costly, too confusing. He is the nice guy who never actually approaches, the perennial bachelor whose apartment is a museum of adolescence. His motto is, "It's not worth it." And in a sense, he is rationally responding to a broken game. But his solution is a slow suicide. He opts out of the hierarchy entirely, and in doing so, opts out of the very struggles that would force him to grow, to integrate his shadow, to become something. He chooses comfort over meaning, and pays for it with a deepening void of existential irrelevance. Archetype 2, the strategic narcissist. The dark player. This man understands the game. He sees the hypergamous imperative clearly, and instead of trying to reform it or amend it, he game theories it. His goal is not to become a man worthy of commitment, but to optimize for the acquisition of female attention and sexual access. He studies the signals of high status and learns to counterfeit them. He cultivates the aesthetics of success, the designer wardrobe, the curated Instagram of exotic travels, the jargon of ambition, without the underlying substance. He masters the art of emotional manipulation, feigning vulnerability to create false intimacy, employing negging to destabilize, using intermittent reinforcement to create addiction. He is a student of dark psychology, turning human connection into a series of cold, calculated exploits. He is the quintessential player. He refuses commitment as a market strategy, because commitment removes him from the marketplace. He harvests the validation of new conquests to paper over his own inner emptiness. He mistakes the ability to seduce for the maturity to love. But his victory is a Pyrrhic one. He lives in a hall of mirrors, surrounded by reflections of his own false self. He cannot build anything real, because his entire personality is a mercenary outfit designed for a single, shallow purpose. He becomes a predator in a dying ecosystem, eventually consuming himself. He wins the game by reducing it to a meaningless scorecard. Both the Peter Pan and the strategic narcissist are failures. One fails by surrendering. The other fails by winning a prize that turns to ash in his hands. Both are children, one a helpless child, the other a malevolent child. 35:00, Part 6, The Stoic Reclamation, Carving Your Own Altar. So where's the way out? Is it a return to some mythical past? A descent into bitter misogyny? A surrender to the machine? No. The way out is the way through. It is to see the darkness clearly, accept its existence without flinching, and then choose to build a meaningful life within that truth. This is the Stoic path. Amor fati. Love of one's fate. Your task is not to change women. It is not to rage against hypergamy or the modern world. Your task is to become so formidable, so grounded in your own purpose, that the chaos of the external world ceases to be a source of anxiety and becomes merely the landscape in which you operate. This reclamation has 3 pillars. Pillar 1, re-embody your purpose. The intrinsic hierarchy. You must decouple your sense of worth from female validation. It cannot be the source, it can only be a potential echo. Your worth must be rooted in a pursuit that is so inherently meaningful to you that you would pursue it even if you were the last person on earth. This is not about passion in the fluffy sense. This is about responsibility. What problem in the world are you equipped to solve? What craft can you master to the point of artistry? What physical, mental, or spiritual discipline can you submit to that will forge you in fire? This is your intrinsic hierarchy. Your daily battle is against your own former weakness, your own ignorance, your own laziness. Become a man who is building a cathedral. You may not live to see it finished, but the act of laying each stone with care gives each day meaning. This purpose is your bedrock. From this place, you are not a beggar seeking love to fill a void. You are a king in your own domain, capable of offering a genuine invitation to share in something substantive. This is infinitely more attractive than any performative niceness or displays of purchased status. Pillar 2, integrate your shadow. From harmless to dangerous, and then to good. You must reclaim the disowned parts of yourself. You must make friends with your capacity for aggression, for anger, for dominance. Do not aim to be harmless. Aim to be dangerous, and then have that danger under absolute, voluntary control. Lift heavy weights. Train in a martial art. Learn to fight. This is not for vanity or for violence. It is to have a conversation with your own body, to remember that you are an animal with the capacity for force. To know, in your bones, that you could be violent, but you choose not to be, that is where true peace and confidence are born. Confront people who wrong you. Set boundaries, not with petulance, but with calm, unshakable finality. Speak the truth when it is costly. Embrace healthy competition. Allow your righteous anger at injustice, in the world, in your own life, to fuel disciplined action, not impotent complaining. A man who has no monster within him cannot be a saint. He can only be a milquetoast. Integrate your shadow, and you will stop leaking passive aggression. You will carry a quiet, unspoken confidence. You will have depth, tension, and a backbone. This is what is biologically recognized as strength. Pillar 3. See with clear eyes. The Stoic gaze. See women as they are, not as the fantasy you need them to be to salve your loneliness. They are not angels or monsters. They are human animals, navigating the same terrifying biological imperatives as you, but from the opposite shore. They are subject to the same cultural confusions, the same seductions of the spectacle, the same struggle for meaning. See hypergamy not as a personal indictment, but as a force of nature. You do not resent gravity, you build muscles and structures to navigate it. Do not resent her nature. Understand it. Let that understanding inform your standards, not your resentment. Your goal is not to find a perfect woman. It is to find a woman of character. Look for her virtues. Is she disciplined? Is she accountable? Does she have her own relationship with her shadow, her capacity for loyalty, for fierce protection, for nurturing not as weakness but as a formidable strength? Is she an ally to your purpose, and do you respect hers? Commitment, from this stoic position, is not something you give away to earn love. It is a privilege you consciously offer from a position of abundance. It is a treaty between two sovereign individuals who have each built their own citadel and choose to ally their kingdoms. It is based not on need, but on mutual respect and shared vision. The modern condition is a desert. It is arid, filled with mirages, and it will suck the life from you if you wander aimlessly, looking for an oasis that does not exist. Your task is not to find water. Your task is to become a man who can dig a well. Stop looking for her to complete you. Complete yourself. Stop trying to read the shifting rules of a game designed to keep you disoriented. Invent your own game, with rules of honor, discipline, and mastery. Stop outsourcing your validation. Generate it internally, through the sweat of real effort, the integrity of your word, the strength of your character. The path is hard. It is lonely at first. It requires you to face everything you have been taught to avoid, your own darkness, the indifference of the universe, the responsibility of your own freedom. But on this path, you will find something far greater than the fleeting approval of a confused world. You will find integrity. The state where your actions, your instincts, and your purpose are aligned. You will become solid in a liquid world. And a strange alchemy will occur. The very traits you cultivate for your own salvation, the purpose, the integrated strength, the stoic clarity, are the traits that the ancient, deep psyche of a woman of substance cannot help but recognize. Not because you performed them for her, but because you forged them for yourself. She will not find you because you were looking for her. She will find you because you were too busy building your cathedral to notice her approach. And when she does, you will not need to ask what she wants from you. You will already be it. The desert is vast. Start digging.